Alright guys, welcome back to the Dark Souls 2 walkthrough Indiana Jones style. Now, right off the bat here I make a mistake. Don't use the Soul of the Giant that I do right here. Don't use that up. You'll need those at the end of the game. Now, you can farm for them later, so it's not a huge deal, but we're using all of our other souls here because we need to buy a lot of stuff from Melintia, and we're going to get the Silver Covetous Ring from her after we spend 10,000 souls at her shop. Now, we're going to get the Vanquisher Seal in this episode. It's the key ring of this build. It will allow us to have ridiculous damage with our fists. But in order to get it, we're going to have to kill 2 bosses along the way, and we're going to have a Fragrant Branch of Yore. And I like to have a couple of them because I want to go ahead and get the Fang Key so we can get our blacksmith ready to craft the Chaos Blade later. We have to rescue the blacksmith. Now I'm just upgrading the Puzzling Stone Sword here to +2. It will come in handy later in multiple occasions. Now, we're going to go to Melintia and pretty much just wipe out her shop. We're going to buy the Traveling Merchant Hat for item discovery. We're going to buy all the human effigies she has. We're going to buy all 3 Bright Bugs. Now these are very expensive, but they're worth it. And a Fragrant Branch of Yore. And after that we're going to talk to her, and we'll get the Covetous Silver Ring +1. Now, the Bright Bugs, they will cause you to take less damage. I think it's 20%, and you will gain more damage with your attacks, which is another 20%. So we're going to use this on a couple of bosses in particular. The Lost Sinner with New Game Plus, and also those damn annoying gargoyles ×6 on New Game Plus. Now, she will restock her Bright Bugs every time you kill one of those main bosses. So that would be the Rotten, the Duke's Deer, Freya, the Old Iron King, or the Lost Sinner. So it's important to wipe out her inventory before you kill one of those bosses. So we wiped them all out here, but we've already killed the Rotten, so we actually missed out on 3 of them. But they are very expensive. So we're going to make sure we buy some Alluring Skulls from the cat. These are very important later, actually through this entire game. They're very good distractions, and they can cause you a lot less headaches in certain situations. And you'll see one of those coming up with the Testicle Men. Yes, that's right. They're called Testicle Men. So we're going to come up here. This is where we entered originally to the left. But we're going to go straight up here through this passage. Now, there is an NPC up ahead, and he can be summoned for multiple boss fights throughout the game. So if you're struggling with this particular boss, he might become a summon for you later. If you exhaust all his dialogue here, then you can summon him later. But pretty soon, we're going to be so overpowered that we won't need help with any bosses whatsoever. In fact, in some cases, we'll be 3-shotting bosses. Now, there is some Homeward Bones here. Make sure you pick these up. And make sure you get your Alluring Skulls out, because you'll need them very, very soon. Now, you'll need to unpetrify Rosalina here. She is basically your pyromancy merchant. And she's an interesting NPC in that you can play dress up with her. I don't know what they were thinking with this, but you can give her clothing. She'll ask for clothing, and you can give her whatever you want. Don't give her anything good, obviously, because once you give it to her, you cannot get it back. So I usually just give her rags, basically, something that I'm not going to have use for. It's not going to even fetch a good price. So I give her just the tattered stuff. It's really not worth losing anything good over. Later on, when I find something more appropriate for her to wear, like there's these priestesses, the pyromancy priestesses in Harvest Valley that have like these bras that I usually give to her if I find them. Now, throw the Alluring Skulls at the door you came from. These little bastards will crowd you if you don't. And they'll just go to town on these Alluring Skulls and wait for the door to open. Because as soon as you pull that lever, they're all going to come in. So this will give you time to kill the Basilisk in front of you. Now go straight to the left and get to the bonfire to despawn all the enemies. Now the room adjacent from you has an Estus Shard. But we're not going to get it. And we're not going to go back to Majula to use it right now. to upgrade, because when you do that, the door closes. I tried doing that. So if you pick up this Estus shard and you're like, well, I want to go upgrade right now. Well, if you do that, the door at the top of these stairs right here is closed, and you have to do that whole thing again. So not worth it. So we're going to come through here, and there's some more testicle men, and they will chunk rocks at you. That's their projectiles they'll throw at you, and they'll also just come in and poison you if they hit you too many times. But with our whip, we should be able to get great damage before they can do anything. They are dangerous in a crowd. Now right here, there's a couple on this elevated platform here, and they will just chunk rocks at you. So I usually just like to lure them down and just whip them. And they're pretty accurate with these stones, I swear. Yeah, there's one in the back. Yeah, he never did come down, so... There's a Ferris lock stone over here if you want to get it. Just kill the testicle guy. I mean, what else are you going to call this guy? I mean, look at him. It's pretty damn funny. Anyway, once those guys are dealt with, there's going to be a pack of them here. You can just chunk a firebomb if you want, but I just go to town with my whip. Take out a couple at once. The whip is very good for crowd control, as you will definitely see throughout this walkthrough. Later on, when we take on the skeleton lords, I mean, we're going to be double-handing a couple of whips, and we're going to be just crushing these skeletons, and there's so many of them, so very good for crowd control. Now, make sure you hit this bonfire. Go ahead and rest to get your whip back up to full capacity. Now, there are 3 areas you can go into. This area is the one you want to go into with the fog. Stay to the far left. There are invisible enemies here that you can't lock onto, and they're quite the pain in the ass. Every time you try to pick up items or whatever, if you're lollygagging around, they'll come and get you. But right here, there's an NPC over there, the headless NPC, but we're not going to talk to him right now. It's actually a head, just a head. His body is out there somewhere. Anyway, this way, stay left, and you'll eventually find some stairs, and that will lead you to the next bonfire, which you definitely want to sit at. Now, we have a lot of business to do here in the Shaded Woods. Now, the first thing to know about the Shaded Woods is you can be cursed, and cursing in this game works much differently than it did in Dark Souls 1. When you're cursed in this game, it's like you die, and you lose some more of your health. So you can, if you're constantly getting cursed, your health bar will just get smaller and smaller. Now, right here, there's a guy just chilling. We're going to use the stone sword to take him out quickly. And while we're here, we're going to get all the Titanite chunks there are. And there's 2 of them. So there's one right above us. See, there's the cursed pots. These pots are what curse you. So they're quite annoying. And sometimes you can't even find where they're at. So there's the first one. And make sure you kill this guy before going to the chest. He's just kind of chilling there again. He can be kind of hard to see at times. And you'll get not only a Titanite chunk, but one of those petrified dragon bones, which will come in quite handy, especially if you're trying to upgrade boss weapons later, which we still have to upgrade the Chaos Blade, which we don't have yet. We need 15 for that, but we also are going to get a whip later that's a boss weapon that we'll want to upgrade, called the Spotted Whip. It does poison damage, but we're not going for a poison build, but we're still going to get everything appropriate for our build. So that's all crossbows that we're interested in, and all whips. The only 2 blades we're going to get are the Chaos Blade and the Stone Sword, so that's pretty much it. This is the guy you want to unpetrify because he has the Fang Key. This will help you free the blacksmith that's trapped up ahead in a cave. Her name is Ornifex, and she's one of the 2 boss vendors in this game. There's another one in the Lost Bastille, and he will upgrade a few of our other weapons, the Spotted Whip and the Executioner's Chariot's crossbow. Now we're going to go ahead and go get another Titanite chunk and a Flame Butterfly. Now Flame Butterflies will come in handy much later in the game, but they can also come in handy in the Lost Bastille when or the Sinner's Rise, I should say, when we go to kill the Lost Sinner. Because you have to light up the arena and the only way to do it is with a torch. Now there's a cursed pot up above that you can't really get to, so try not to stay to the right of this area. And there's another one in the corner of this room. These things are a real pain in the ass. Now we'll have to kill a crystal lizard coming up. I would just target lock him and two-hand the whip, and it should kill him most of the time. He'll go into a corner, so he's pretty much dead to rights. I missed him that time, but this time we get him. Crystal lizards in this game are really hard to kill. They're very hard to hit because of the poor hit detection in this game. Now there's a man scorpion in this area that is an NPC that you can talk to if you have the Ring of Whispers from the cat that you got to buy. And you can summon him for the boss fight, and he'll actually give you a ring too, or you can kill him for the ring, but the ring is inappropriate for our build, so it would raise our equipment load, and therefore our ring would not be useful anymore. The flinge ring, well, it'd be useful, but it wouldn't be the maximum. Now, the flame butterfly is right there. Make sure you pick that up. Now on into the pit. This pit contains many basilisks, and they will petrify you. Now, they're not that dangerous as far as getting petrified. Petrification in this game, it doesn't build up as fast as you might think. But what I like to do is I like to aim for this cave right here. Get into this area. There's one in here already with you. Make sure you take him out, and then you can funnel the rest right towards you. And make sure to pick up the Twinkling Titanite in the corner right there. Don't miss that. These guys will drop infusion stones most of the time. Now here's the door you need to open to free Ornifex. She's very grateful, and she will actually upgrade your first boss soul for free. So that's even better for us. But she's not until another area in the game called Brightstone Cove, Seldora, which we're not going to be going into that area just yet. But we have done everything up to this point to ensure that she will be there. Now, we're going to go take out the boss. Now, there is an item I missed here, and I didn't realize it till later. It's a sublime bone dust, and we're going to get it later, but it's not really that necessary to get right now. Now, we will be coming back to this area because we have to talk to an NPC after he relocates to this area, but he's not here yet because we haven't talked to him the first time. But when we talk to him the first time, he will relocate to the far tower on the right, just where we entered this area here, just to the right of it. Now, we're undead because we died from the boss. The boss is very easy. I just screwed up. It's just like those Orgers. You can, trigger the bump stop. In this one, you can trigger her to do her tail attack, and the same principle applies. It's really quite simple, and you'll see I won't even take a hit here. I like to use this puzzling stone sword here. Just get behind her ass and just poke her in her ass, and then you'll trigger this attack. Just get way out of the way though, and just go to town on her again to try to get behind her. She will occasionally shoot some magic at you, but if you just walk strafe, if you just keep walking, you will never get hit by the magic. It's very easy to dodge. This boss is really a joke, to be honest. But she can still kill you. She's got really good forward attacks, and she can poison you, so. But, as you can see, it's pretty much a joke. Just stay behind her ass, and you'll never get killed. Well, providing you dodge the tail. Now, we are coming up to the Doors of Pharros. This is basically a PvP area, much like the Grave of Saints, which we haven't even went to yet. But it is so important to this walkthrough because this is where we're going to have the ability to get the Vanquisher Seal quickly, because we're going to kill an NPC 50 times. It's better than the Grave of Saints NPC, in my opinion, because to me it's a lot easier and it's faster. The guy can't do anything but shoot at you, so he has no melee attack. And this is also where we're going to get Avalon, or a crossbow that we're going to infuse to raw, and it's going to be very helpful through this walkthrough. This is also where you can farm Titanite chunks and a variety of infusion stones, and this is where your vendor will, where you can sell items to his last location will be, his final location. Now, I'm putting on the merchant hat here because I'm trying to increase my item discovery. What you want to do is you want to jump over here and look to the left and go in this doorway. Now, there's going to be a poison rat behind you, and he is so damn annoying, so make sure you take him out first. But sometimes, while you're trying to take out the rat, he will snipe you from a distance and kill you, so it's kind of annoying. You have to kill the rat first, no doubt about it. And the best way to do it is with the two-handed R1s, which I did not display here. I will show you again because we have to do this 50 times, but of course I'm not going to show you 50 times. I'm just going to show you one extra time once we've increased the difficulty and joined the company of champions. Now, he will drop Avalon. He will drop it eventually. But as many times as you got to kill him, you know, as long as you have the merchant hat on, and you know, if you have some rusted coins, which I did use at the beginning there, you'll get a better chance of getting it early. But it is very highly likely you'll get it before you kill him 50 times. Now on to the worst boss in Dark Souls 2, in my opinion. I hate this boss so much. It's so stupid. It's basically RNG whether you're going to get toxic by the rats, and then the boss has an unblockable. It's hard to dodge it too. It's just a stupid charge move. But once you get behind him and you can hit his hind legs, it's pretty much over at that point. But it's just a stupid boss fight, and I hate it. Now right here, we're just going to jump across instead of walking all the way around, and they're going to make sure we get this chest. But it is booby trapped. But it contains a petrified dragon bone and a titanite chunk, which we desperately would like to have. Now, these guys are slow. They will drop chunks, like I said, so they are worth farming later. Now, when you come into this area, it's kind of easy to miss the bonfire because it's off to the right in like a hidden area. It's not really hidden, but it's easy to miss. So when you come over here, as soon as you cross this next area, it's going to be off to the right. And just hug the wall, and you'll eventually, after you pass this guy, start looking on the right side. And there it is right there. This is the bonfire we're going to burn with a bonfire aesthetic to get to New Game Plus, because we need that NPC to spawn multiple times so we can get awe stones and the Avalon. Now right here, get your black bug out and use it. Just use it. It's going to be better off this way. And get your crossbow out, your fire crossbow, and shoot the first rat twice. You're only going to be able to take out one of them. And then get your puzzling stone sword out immediately and do your double-handed R2 to do your spin move and take them all out. Now, I missed that one guy. You won't have much time because the boss comes in almost immediately when you start attacking the rats. Now, you have to get behind him, and that's hard enough to do. Once you get behind him, you're pretty much home free. But the hitboxes are so off on this boss. There's sometimes where I try to hit the boss and it just doesn't even register. That's just very frustrating. But you can see with the bright bug, we're going to be causing even more damage. But I like to use the whip. Double hand R2s if you can. But just hit the damn boss any way you can, because it's just, I hate this boss. He really can't do anything if you're behind him. He can do a acid puke or whatever. Now see, that's the charge I hate. And the acid puke will degrade your weapons. And I just, yeah, it's just such an annoying boss. Every time he does that charge move, I don't think I've ever dodged it, to be honest. You just have to get behind him and just hit him in the hind legs and just be done with this boss and never have to fight it again, hopefully. Now that the boss of the area is dead, it will allow us to bonfire aesthetic the bonfire here. And we can get awe stones, but we have to join the company of champions first. And we need 50 awe stones to get the Vanquisher seal, so it's going to take a little while. It takes a couple of hours, to be honest. If you get into a rhythm, it really doesn't take that long. And the benefit you're going to have is so outweighs the time you're going to spend grinding here. This is really the only grind that I'm going to implore you guys to do if you're doing this kind of a build, a fist build of any kind. Yeah, this is what you want to do. You definitely want to do this. Vanquisher Seal does so much for your bare fist damage. It adds 200 to your base damage, and then it scales to 75% of your strength stat. That is absolutely insanity. And it's overpowered, and that's why we're doing it. Well, considering this is basically a glass cannon build, we're not going to be using shields and huge armor sets. We're going to need some help. We're going to need to be able to do a massive amount of damage, and so that's why I'm doing it this way. Make sure you give her your Estus Shard and upgrade, and we're going to level up with the souls we got from the Royal Rat boss. Now, we're mainly working on endurance right now, and we're going to go ahead and work on adaptability as well. But as we're grinding that NPC that spawns over and over, he's going to be giving us a lot of souls because we're going to be in New Game Plus, so we're going to be getting more souls. Plus, we're going to put on the Silver Covetous Ring +1, and we're going to be getting even more souls, so we're going to be maximizing our soul count that we can possibly do at this point. We'll be able to max out another stat, which is going to be Strength. We'll be able to get it to 40 before we're even done. So that's huge, and that's why the Vanquisher Seal is going to be even more powerful, because it scales, like I said, to 75% of your strength stat, and we're going to have it at 40, which is the soft cap. In addition, we're still going to have the Flynn's Ring, which does even more damage, and eventually when we get the Ring of Blades +1, we're going to be doing so much ridiculous damage. It's just unbelievable. I mean, you have to work to get it. It takes a little while. Like I said, at least invest 2 to 3 hours grinding here. It depending on your skill level, but I'm going to try to show you the easiest way to do this. You're going to need the whip, double hand the whip. You're probably going to lose durability, so make sure you have your other whip as well handy. So the basic whip and the old whip, which you're going to have to get into a rhythm. You're going to run up here first, then jump because the rat comes from behind you. There he goes. Get to the door as before. You can see I died here. This is my last one I recorded. That's the double two-handed. You want to do that R2 to kill the rat. Now the guy will jump out and don't get too close to the door, because that mammoth thing will kill you in one hit. Especially now when you're in the Company of Champions and New Game Plus. But the stone ring is important here. You want to be able to stun lock this guy, and you have to hit him first, but he's very easy to come into and just hit because he doesn't have a melee, and he depends on Avalon 100%. So it's slow, and you can even dodge Avalon most of the time, and that's going to be it. Just continue to whip him. Like I said, if your durability gets low, just switch to the next whip. With the stone ring and all the other rings you have equipped, you should be able to take him out pretty easily. Now, I don't have footage of me picking up Avalon, but I do have it in my possession at the moment. And we're going to upgrade that bad boy to +10 almost immediately, because we have all the upgrade materials we need, because we've been saving all our chunks. We got all those chunks from the DLC, and we got a slab from the DLC. So we have the ability right now to upgrade it to its maximum capacity, and we're going to infuse it with raw, and we have one of those from the DLC. So we have everything we need for Avalon to be maxed out completely. Now, you should have your strength at 40 by this point. You should have strength and dex to 40. If you don't, go ahead and just keep investing into strength, because this is the main stat you want to invest in for the Vanquisher Seal. Now you can see I have my dex and strength at 40, and now we're working on adaptability. Our vitality, our vigor and our endurance are still at 10, which is not good, but we will address that later. Now, make sure you have 50 Allstones. Once you have 50 Allstones, go back to the Company of Champions, and I am so sorry to report, unfortunately, unlike Dark Souls Remastered, where you can just give the amount that you want to give, you have to do them one at a time. One at a time. So this is going to take about 10 minutes to do. It's quite annoying, and it really should have never been part of the game. And now we have the Vanquisher Seal. Well, you'll get the Great Weapon as one of your other... you'll get some upgrades, rewards there. But the Vanquisher Seal after 50. And so I edited it out to spare you. Now, the bottom two slots we're going to reserve for Vanquisher Seal and the Flynn's Ring. These are pretty much going to be always equipped. Unless we are using the Chaos Blade, which in that case... we'll use the Blood Crest Ring if we're going to try to bleed out a boss. But Blade in this game isn't that great, in my opinion. It's not as good as Dark Souls 1, that's for damn sure. It's still okay, but we're going to get the engraved gauntlets later, and that's going to be just as good, in my opinion. It has a chance to do a critical hit. Now, here are your attacks. They're very varied and very awesome. I like doing the left bumper will do these jabs in succession, and you can follow it up with another jab or an uppercut. It's just, there's so many ways you can fight in this game, which is another reason I really like it over Dark Souls 1. May not be the most popular opinion, but it is what it is. Now that we've done all that, we are ready to go ahead and go get some additional items that we now can get because we have fragrant branches of yore. And we're going to go ahead and get out of the Company of Champions. Make sure you get out of this covenant. If you do not get out of the Company of Champions, all the enemies are going to do double or triple the damage, and it takes more hits to kill them. And good luck fighting a boss on New Game Plus if you're in the Company of Champions. You're going to die. That's just the bottom line. Especially if you're facing the gargoyles and you're in New Game Plus and you've got the Company of Champions. Good. My heart goes out to you. If you can do it, good luck. I've tried it, and I got to tell you, I had to come out of the Company of Champions to kill the boss. It's hard enough even without being in the Covenant. Only stay in the Company of Champions if you're intending to farm an item or something, because that's the only reason you need to be in the Covenant, unless you're just a try-hard and you just want to make the game harder. Of course, we could stay in the Covenant, but for bosses, we're just going to stay out of the Covenant. But like I said, if you're going to be farming, you need to be in the Covenant because you can bleed the place dry, and then you're going to have to use a bonfire aesthetic, and that increases the difficulty. So look at the damage that this thing does. One hit will take out one of those guys. Of course, they don't have that much health anyway, but that's just a taste of the damage you're going to be inflicting on enemies with your bare fists. Yeah, just your bare fists. Now, the reason I want the Chaos Blade is because while the fists do a ton of damage, it doesn't have range. The whip does great damage, but it has terrible durability. So we're going to have to supplement something in there, and we're going to add the Chaos Blade. And I like the Chaos Blade from the first game, and I like the moveset it has in this game. So while it does cause damage to us, it's still going to be a viable option in certain situations, and we're going to use it also on the bosses. On some bosses, if they're bleedable. Now, the Chaos Blade does not do bleed, but we can use Bleeding Serum on it, and we can still have bleed damage on bosses. Now, we want to come over here and kill all these enemies. Yeah, we could pretty much handle anything right now with what we have, and we're still going to be getting more powerful. Now, this guy is blocking the way. Use your fragrant branch of yore. Now, there'll be a mammoth at the top of the stairs. You can either kill him or ignore him and just grab the Estus Shard and get out. That's what I do. Although I could have displayed some more nice damage. But he can one-shot you in certain cases. Our vigor is not very high. So we just want to get out of here. We'll bone out. That's one Estus Shard we're going to get. Now we're going to get another one from Things Betwixt. And then we're going to go get a Sublime Bone Dust. And then that's going to be the video. Things Betwixt is next on our agenda here. There's yet another statue that was in the tutorial blocking the way. And you have to unpetrify him to get access to the next shard. I really don't like the way they gated off progression in this game with these fragrant branches of yore. I just don't like how they did it. I do like some of the ideas that Dark Souls 2 did, but not this one. Always blocking the path. You gotta wait for him to actually start walking towards you. Now, there's an archer in this room that's kind of powerful. Don't underestimate. And we're going to use Avalon here. And you'll get to see, I've already upgraded it. There's no reason in just showing you upgrading Avalon, but I did it off video here. Now, I like to snipe this guy from range. And like I said, in Dark Souls 1 you couldn't aim with a reticule, but in this game you can, so it opens up a lot of combat options. And another reason I like this game better than Dark Souls 1. So he's dead. We'll knock this tree down and advance. Now there's a pit coming up that has a lot of basilisks in it. You can shoot them from the top, which I do here. But there's also another archer down there that causes a lot more damage than you might expect. And he can actually surprise you, so just take out as many of these basilisks as you can and then go down there. But be wary of the archer because you can't kill him from this area here. And you're going to have to go down there to kill him. But make sure you pick up the Estus Shard before you do anything else, I guess. Well, I would kill the archer too because he's your biggest threat. And I was actually trying to figure out if I could take him out from a distance here. But nope. I've concluded that you cannot take out this archer. So down we go. And you're also going to take fall damage. And there's the archer. Yeah, see, he's quite a nuisance. Not even 3 bolts. Well, we are using the weakest bolts here, though. Now get your Estus Shard, and we're going to get out of here. And make sure to give them back to the Emerald Herald to upgrade twice. Now, if I had not have missed the bone sublime bone dust in the Shaded Woods, we could have got to +4 by now. Well, at the end of the video, I'll be able to get to +4 if I would have got it. But we're only going to be at 3 because I missed it. But I will get it in the next video. Now, if you remember in the first video where we talked to an NPC after we killed the Dragon Rider, our first boss that we killed, we exhausted her dialogue and we had her to relocate to Majula. This is where she is, and she's going to open up a path. It costs 2,000 souls to open up the path, or you can try to kill her, but I don't recommend that. Not at this stage anyway. Just exhaust her dialogue and open the path. You'll have to, like I say, it'll cost 2,000 souls. Huntsman's Copse. This is an area where we are going to have to go to get a few items, and we're going to have to, you have to come this way anyway if you want to get to Harvest Valley and Earthen Peak, which are, we have to get to Earthen Peak because we have to talk to Pate for the second time to get him to move to Seldora, and we have to talk to the NPC for the first time, Creighton, which is in this area in Huntsman's Copse, and we have to talk to him initially, and then he's going to move to Shaded Woods. Like I said before, he was going to move to that tower just before we killed the Scorpion boss. And then once we talk to him again, they both are going to be ending up at Seldora, and we're going to kill Pate. I like to kill Pate. And we will be able to get the engraved gauntlets, and that is probably one of the most important pieces of armor we're going to get in this entire walkthrough. Probably the most important. It causes critical hits on occasion. I think it's a percentage, like 30% or so, but as many times as you're hitting enemies, you can cause, I mean, the likelihood you're going to get it is pretty high. I mean, that's a pretty good percentage, to be honest. Now, when you come into this area, you're going to face a new enemy. These butterflies that will inflict poison on you. But we're going to use Avalon and take them out, and I thought that was one, but I was way off. It's to the left and up. They'll be throughout the copse. Now, they will drop moss that you can use to cure yourself, so they are worth killing. And they drop them at a pretty good rate. Eventually, when we get Gavilan, which is our main vendor that we can sell to, he will sell an infinite amount of moss, so if you're ever in need, he will sell an infinite amount. Now right here, you're going to have an assassin jump from above, so just wait for him and take him out. And here's another got you moment, I like to call him. Just run towards the door and turn around, just to trigger him to come through the door. If you try to open or smash the door, he's going to hit you. And there's another one to the left here, just whip him. One whip will take him out. Now there's a reason I got my whip in the left hand. Whenever I'm using Avalon at the moment, I always want to have it in my right hand. But I also want to have access to my fists. So only have the whip and the Avalon equipped at once. Or if you're using the Chaos Blade, just make sure you only have one weapon per side. Because if you put more than one weapon in each side, you can't have the maximum moveset of your fists. And to me, I'm going to have my fists available at all times. Make sure you hit this bonfire here. And we're going to go get the Sublime Bone Dust. And that will be the episode, guys. We have done a lot in this episode. And then the next episode is where we're really going to start diving in and getting some really cool things like the Chaos Blade and the Engraved Gauntlets. And the Chloranthy Ring +2. Now there's these guys with sickles. We can just snipe to get their attention. They're pretty easy to avoid. They do this thing where they stab the ground and they just like that, and they're just leaving themselves open, and they have no chance against our fists. Now, after you kill that guy, just look for an elevated area right here. The torch hollows are not as powerful as the ones in Dark Souls 1. Now, there is an assassin up here. Make sure you take him out before dropping down. You just use Avalon. And there's a knight guarding the chest. We can plunge attack him, although plunge attack is not reliable in this game. It's really not well done. I don't know who programmed it, but it just doesn't work most of the time. And there is your Sublime Bone Dust. And that's going to pretty much do it for this episode. In the next episode, we are going to get the Chaos Blade. It is not easy to get in this game, as you will see. Sometimes I wonder if it's even worth it. Yeah, I think it still is. Now that we have Avalon, we have to make sure we always keep an eye on our ammo count. And I usually buy the wood bolts because they're the cheapest, but the other ones are useful in certain situations. It's just they're too expensive to justify buying a ton of them. So I stock up on the wood ones, just like in the first game. And make sure you use your Sublime Bone Dust here. This will put you at +3. Like I said before, if I wouldn't have missed that one in the Shaded Woods, we'd be at +4 right now. But we are going to go ahead and buy some more Homeward Bones from the cat, because until we get the Aged Feather, we're going to have to continuously buy Homeward Bones from the cat. Now, she will actually sell you some pants later that will reduce fall damage, but you have to progress a certain amount into the game, and I can't remember how far. I'll have to do some research, but they're called the Feline Boots, and they are worth having, let me tell you. You combine that with the cat ring, and you can take a lot of fall damage that you would normally kill you. Like I said, we're just going to buy some bolts here, and that's going to be it for the episode. See you guys in part 5, where we'll get the Chaos Blade and the Engraved Gauntlets.